Welcome to Achievers Academy. Today we are going to talk about differentiation of inverse of trigonometry function. What do you understand about the idea of trigonometry function? How to differentiate? We find it difficult how to differentiate using trigonometry function, and it's very easy. Trust me. Today, I'm going to guide you to teach us how to differentiate a very simple way on differentiation of inverse of trigonometry function. But please, before I start, I want you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Now, I will give you these tips. Those are the steps you are going to take whenever you are dealing with inverse of trigonometry function. Please take notes. Whenever you see a question on inverse of trigonometry function, these are the tips you must take, and you must know it properly. Please write it at the back of your notes. Now, using trigonometry identity, I want you to know that these are the formula we are going to be using whenever you have sine square s plus cos square s is equal to 1. So that is equation 1. Please take note of it. The second one is when you have cosec square s minus cot square s is equal to 1. Please, all these, they are identities. You must know them. So now, and the third one, this is equation 2. And the third one is sec square s minus tan square s is equal to 1. That's 3. So those are the identity, the method we are going to be using whenever we get there. That's going to say guide you when you are dealing with inverse of trigonometry function. Now, example 1. If y is equal to sine inverse of s, find the y, the s. Now, if y is equal to sine inverse of s, find the y, the s. How can you solve this? Now, you can solve this with the idea of what? Using trigonometry identities. Now, solution, y is equal to sine inverse of s. Now, what are you going to do here? To eliminate, to take sine from the both sides, what are you going to do? You say take what? Take sine from what? From both sides. Please, to eliminate this inverse that you are having here, you have to take sine of both sides. If the tan that you are having here, you have to take tan, inverse of tan, to eliminate the tan. Whatever identity you have here. Now, when I said inverse of s is what? That is 1 over s. Is that not so? So what am I going to use to eliminate s? So that means I must take s in both sides. So now s will cancel s. Do you get that now? So that's what we are going to do here. So when you take sine of both sides now, you are going to have something like this. Let me write it. Take sine of both sides. So when you take sine of both sides, you have something like this. Sine y is equal to sine multiplied by 1 over sine multiplied by s. Are you with me? So I'll take the sine of both sides. Now, what is the next thing I'm going to do? So I'm going to have sine y is equal to s. Is that not so? Now, what are you going to do here? You differentiate both sides with respect to s. You differentiate both sides with respect to what? To s. Now, when you differentiate both sides with respect to s, what are you going to have? If you differentiate sine y, sine y is another function. So if you differentiate sine y, you are going to have cos y dy dx. Are you with me? If you differentiate s, you are going to have 1. Is that clear? Now, what are you going to do? What are you looking for? Dy dx. Don't forget this. What we are looking for. You are looking for dy dx. So you make dy dx as subject of the formula. So when you make dy dx as subject of formula, you are going to have dy dx is going to be equal to 1 over cos y. Now, you have dy dx is equal to 1 over cos y. Before I start this video, I write something on the board. I say, we are going to make use of them. Now you are using trigonometry identity. When you have sine, please recall, let me write it like this. Recall that when you have sine square y plus cos square y, are you with me? Is equal to 1. Now, you have sine square y plus cos square y is equal to 1. How are you going to do it? You are looking for cos y. So you make cos square y the subject of formula. When you make cos square y the subject of formula, you have something like this is equal to 1 minus sine square y. Is that also? And what is this? Cos y. What is your square y? So what are you going to do? You take square of what? Take the square root you take the square root. I do this now. If you take the square root, you have something like this. Cos y is equal to square root of 1 minus sine square y. Is that not so? Now, whenever you see cos y, what are you going to put there? 1 is to square root of 1 minus sine square y. Can we go back to our question? So now you are going to have dy dx is equal to 1 over square root of 1 minus sine square y. Now you have sine square y, but take note that in the question, you have something like this. Note that we said sine y is equal to s. So if sine y is equal to s, that means sine square y is going to be what? S squared. Is that also? So I'm going to have something like this. Dy over ds will be equal to 1 over square root of 1 minus, what is sine square y? S squared. So that is your final answer. So example 2. If y is equal to cot inverse of s, find dy dx. If y is equal to cot inverse of s, find dy dx. Now, how are you going to solve this? I said earlier that whenever you ask this kind of question, you make use of trigonometry identity. But before making use of trigonometry identity, what are the steps you are going to take? Now, solution, y is equal to cot inverse of s. So the next thing you are going to do what? You take cot of both sides. So take cot of both sides. So when you take cot of both sides, you are going to have something like this. Cot y is equal to cot into cot inverse of s. Is that not so? So that is going to be equal to cot y will be equal to s. Cot inverse of cot is going to have what? S. They will cancel each other. Is that clear? So now what are you going to do? You differentiate both sides with respect to s. So if you differentiate both sides with respect to s, now differentiate both sides with respect to what? To s. So now if you differentiate both sides with respect to s, if you differentiate cos y, you are going to have minus cosec square y dy ds. Please take note of it. Is equal to, if you differentiate s, you are going to have 1. And what are you looking for? Dy ds. So you make dy ds as subject of formula. So that is going to have dy ds will be equal to 1 over minus cosec square y. Is that also? Now, so recall that cos square y minus cot square y is equal to 1. Please take note of this at the formula. So now, what are you looking for? Cosec square y. You make cos square y the subject of formula. So if I make cosec square y as subject of formula, I'm going to have 1 plus cot square y. Is that not so? So whenever I see cosec square y, I'm going to put what? 1 plus what? Cos square y. So dy ds will be equal to 1 over minus into brackets 1 plus cot square y. Is that not so? So therefore, that is going to have equal to what? So are you with me? So that is going to be, this is minus, so you are going to have minus over minus 1 into what? 1 plus cot square y. Are you with me? So therefore, dy dx. So dy dx will be equal to 1 over, now recall, sorry, dy dx is equal to minus 1 into 1 plus cos square y. Now recall that cot y is equal to s. Is that not so? So therefore, cot square y is going to be what? S square. So I can finally say that dy over the s is equal to minus 1 over 1 plus 1 plus, what is cos square y? Square. So that is your final answer. Please, I want you to like, share, and comment to this YouTube channel. Thank you so much.